Hi everybody, I'm Blue Nagoon, and today I have some recommendations for you in the synth pop and adjacent genres with vocals that came out in August of this year. My next recommendation is Unheard Sirens' song Altered Egos. I heard this on Outworld Sound's Twitch show, and I was immediately intrigued because they have like two competing bass things going on. There's like a funk bass kind of riff, and then there's a rolling synth bass, and you would think that those would clash, but it's kind of cool how they work together here. The best part of the song for me though is the just anthemic chorus melody. It really lifts the song into a higher plane, and the vocalist has some very earnest vocal stylings that fit it perfectly. And then later in the song, she kind of stretches out and does some extra things with the vocals too, which are great. But yeah, that chorus is just phenomenal and worth the price of admission alone.
It's not about either or. It's about something more. Transcend this play. Release the pain.
My next recommendation is Thing For You by Oblique and Bunny X. It's neat to hear Bunny X collab with another singer. I especially like the way that they sort of introduce that other singer in the second verse. There's like this big stab of harmony and then she splits off. It's really cool. The production on the song is big and lush. The vocal format hook that they use is really cool for most of the song. I really like the way they employ it at the beginning of the song and in the verses. I do feel like it overstays its welcome. Like toward the end, it's repeating every single phrase and you just are kind of constantly hearing that kind of sound. I wish they'd like had some sort of different layers to vary it a bit, but it's not really a deal breaker, and this was still a song that I was happy to have come up on a playlist this month.
Did you mean what you said, more or less? Oh, I've got a thing for you. Is it all in my head, must I confess? You know this is nothing new.
My next recommendation is Good Enough by YSSY, spelled YSSY. This is a really solid synth pop song. I like the sidechain subby bass in the verse and how the verse is kind of stripped down compared to the rest of the song. Good clear vocals with some nice vocal arrangement fills and accents just throughout the song. Satisfying big brass stabs in the chorus. There's a cool like synth arp in the pre-chorus. There's just lots of neat things going on. And there's a cool like change up bridge with some really interesting, unusual sounds that give a nice little break before that last final chorus comes in.
Always back where I began. Pitch black room in a pretty dress. I'll be the last one standing when the music stops. Is that good enough? Is it my life? Nothing after us. By everything I dreamed of.
My next recommendation is Toledo by UAP and Katie Tich. It's a really interesting synth pop song with a lot of sounds that you don't expect, that kind of come out of left field, and things just don't always go quite where you expect them to in a good way. Really enjoyed the vocal performance, especially the kind of lilting, dancing kind of chorus melody. I like the lyrics too. They're telling a story. They just seem a little meatier than your standard pop fare. And there's an instrumental solo at the end that is so cool and not at all what you expect. I'm not going to say any more about it because I don't want to ruin the surprise. It really is honestly worth listening to the song just for that solo that jumps out at the end. It's fantastic. But the rest of the song is really good too.
I'd cross the rivers and the seas. I'd conquer mountains and the breeze would whisper away. Toledo, oh how I miss you again. Toledo, oh how I miss you again.
My next recommendation is Maine's song Leaving and Never Returning. Maine has been putting out a new song every 6 weeks or so, and many of them have been bangers. I really like Maine's chord progressions. Like, they are not afraid to throw some curveballs. Oftentimes they'll have choruses that are in a different key than the verse, like in this case. And in this case also, the chorus is like a E minor C kind of thing, but then there's an F minor chord thrown in there, and it just gives a really juicy, unsettling vibe to the whole thing. There's also really cool vocal arrangements with these la 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 parts happening. Yeah, it just all adds up to a really cool package. All right, the next recommendation is a song by Lost Outrider with Keela and Anita Koyota called Lantern. Now, I saw the notification come up from Blair Scott Synthentral on my Twitter feed about midway through the month, and I went and I listened to the whole album. And it's a really interesting mix of like Japanese pop or anime soundtrack, dark synth, rock, metal. It's a huge wide range of things. And it's one of those albums that when I was listening to it, I was really like rooting for it. Like I really wanted to like it, and it was really ambitious, and there was a lot of cool stuff going on. Unfortunately for me, I bounced off a lot of it. It has a lot of things like intentionally over auto-tuned robotic sounding vocals, and trap hi-hats. There are trap hi-hats all over this album. But if those don't sound like deal breakers for you, I recommend you check out the whole album. It's really ambitious and there's a lot of cool stuff going on. But Lantern, the penultimate song on the album, doesn't suffer from a lot of those things, and it's just great. It was an immediate playlist add for me, and I've really enjoyed listening to it this month. It's a big power ballad of a song. I love the two different vocal stylings in the song and how they start to interplay and overlap, especially toward the end of the song. The song is not strictly synth pop, but I feel like it has enough overlap with adjacent genres that it's definitely worth checking out. My next recommendation is by Radical Bicep featuring Adrel called Oleander. This one, it reminds me of like a shoegaze song, like a synth shoegaze song, or maybe a little bit of vaporwave kind of, but it's all about like a big wall of atmosphere, big wide bass, really lovely soft vocals by Adrel, but then in the pre-chorus she does kind of a more rapid fire delivery, but there's still like these legato backing tracks happening above. Yeah, it's just a real vibe of the song.
Cycles of abuse, he refused to remove this. When does the air close? So much to forget and carry this. Letting too much focus in the dark. Seeing the light leak in.
My next recommendation is Machines by Emmon. This is a driving, insistent, almost housey, dark synth pop song. The main synth arps and progression remind me a lot of the Outrider theme. There's a lot of cool things to catch your ear in here. All kinds of different arps and drum parts, you know, to keep the momentum going. Like even whenever the song changes, there's still something that's really driving the song. The vocal bits are a cool combination of like creepy, frantic, and sexy, like she's a siren on a cyber sea or something. And I like the use of breath sounds also. Overall, it's just a really cool track. All right, everybody, those are my recommendations for August of 2022. I hope you find something you like. To that end, there are playlists below for Spotify and Bandcamp, so you can check them out. And yeah, I hope you go on and support the artist. Shameless plug, I have my own album of vocal retrowave coming out Friday, October 7th. I'll put a little snippet at the end of this video so you can give it a listen, but I hope you check that out too. Thanks for watching, everybody. See ya.
Never wanted any of this fight. We were content.